Player ratings then. Another abysmal home performance for Everton as Burnley come to Goodison Park and do what pretty much every other team has done in the Premier League this season. Turn into prime Barcelona and take 3 points. Everton 1, Burnley 2 at Goodison. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing, and we can sit here all we like and talk about a fight for Europe and a challenge for top 4, which at this point just makes me laugh. But turning in home performance like that at week in, week out, and losing I think 6 out of 7 games at Goodison or something recently is relegation form, to be honest. And that's what will cost us at the end of the season. That's what we'll all be sitting here talking about at the end of the season, is the fact that our home form at Goodison Park is ultimately has been a massive factor in the fact that we haven't finished in Europe. If we do, then we'd be extremely lucky, I'll tell you that. Anyway, let's get into it. Jordan Pickford, giving him a 6.5 tonight. I don't think he done much wrong whatsoever, to be perfectly honest with you. Obviously went off in the first half, which was very, very disappointing with a hip injury after attempting to get down and make a save from I can't remember who took the shot, but it hit the post anyway, and João Virginia had to come on and replace him. Don't think he's at fault for the first goal, if I'm being honest. I think it's woeful defending and silly by Tom Davies to allow the ball to be given away in the centre of midfield, and the second goal is an absolutely excellent strike, and again he's not at fault for that whatsoever. Burnley literally turned, like I said, as soon as the first goal went in, the game just flipped on its head, and it didn't change from that point on. But I don't think Jordan had much to do, if that makes sense, certainly not in the time that he was on the pitch. Made 1 or 2 alright stops, but other than that, again, he wasn't called upon. Like I said, I don't think he's at fault for any of the goals. And then he went off injured in the first half, so not much you can talk about with Jordan Pickford's performance, if I'm honest. 6.5. Luca Dean, have given him a 4. I think it was a really poor performance by Luca Dean today. Again, delivery into the box was dreadful, other than that one for Dominic Calvert-Lewin where he hits in on his right foot, which was a very good cross, to be fair. But other than that, his deliveries into the area from set pieces, corners, just times he had it on the left hand side was atrocious. And I think the most worrying thing about Luca Dean is what we're starting to see now is what we were starting to see towards the back end of Leighton Baines' career. And what I mean by that is Luca Dean's now getting to the halfway line and stopping, rather than making those ball busting runs that he wasn't in his first couple of seasons at Everton and getting the ball into the box consistently. He's now starting to stop with the ball at his feet and look for an easy option, look for a pass, and that for me is a massive worry. I don't know if anybody else picked it up today, but there was a number of times when he had the ball and he had a little bit of space in front of him and he just stopped and he just looked for an inside pass, or he just completely killed the game off. And maybe that's just because we weren't making much movement and we weren't very good going forward. But again, I didn't think he was very good whatsoever today, so he's getting a 4. Michael Keane's getting a 5. I think he struggled, to be fair. I think he struggled. There was a number of times when Burnley got in behind us. There were a number of times when they were just having a field day practically with shots on goal and getting into dangerous areas. I don't think he was awful, Michael Keane. Certainly don't think he made any individual errors, but I just think at times he struggled to deal with Chris Wood. He struggled to deal with Burnley's attack, who today you would swear Burnley were a side that are fighting for a European position. I mean, if you watch that game and you don't watch football and you say which one of these two sides are fighting for one of the top 4 places in the league, you'd have swore it was Burnley, because they were all over us today. And I just think Michael Keane maybe struggled to deal with that at times. It wasn't awful, but again, wasn't his great usual self, so he's getting a 5. Ben Godfrey is getting a 7. Highest rating today. I think he was Everton's man of the match, to be honest. Do think that he's the only Everton player, maybe barring the substitutes, that could walk off that pitch with the head held high. Defensively, he made 2 or 3 blocks to deny Burnley, which, if he wasn't in the way of them, it could have comfortably been another couple of goals for Burnley. I think he was quick to the ball whenever he needed to be. I think he made a couple of really good challenges as well. And he seemed like the only one taking any responsibility in that team. In fact, to be honest, he seemed like the only one who wanted to get anything out of the game. The rest of them just seemed like they couldn't care. The rest of them just seemed like it was, whatever, we don't win. Whereas Ben Godfrey seemed like he really, really wanted it. Made a couple of runs into the area as well towards the back end of the game. So again, I think he was Everton's man of the match, to be honest. Another awful Everton performance where only one player stands out, and it's Ben Godfrey. How that's become a repeated story this season. So Ben's getting a 7, Mason Holgate's getting a 2. Said in an instant match reaction that lad can't play at right back. I don't know what it is with him. I like Mason Holgate. I think he's a good player. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, but that bright future is certainly at centre half. It's not at right back. He just hasn't got the positional sense. He's not strong enough. His passing isn't anywhere, it isn't good enough whatsoever. He's constantly giving the ball away. He's constantly being beaten down that right hand side, and he's constantly finding himself out of position. And look, it didn't directly cost us today because I don't think he was directly involved in either of the goals, but it directly costed, you know, us a number of opportunities for Burnley to get down that right-hand side. His passing going forward is non-existent, and I said it in the instant match reaction, Seamus Coleman plays every single game at right back now until the end of the season, and then we go out and we sign Max Aarons or another right back in the summer, because it's evident that is a number one priority for this football club. Mason's future can either be at centre half, or if he doesn't want to fight his way into the team, if he doesn't want to battle, then maybe his future's at another football club, but it certainly isn't at right back. Again, really poor today for me. He's getting a 2. Tom Davies is getting a 6. Obviously was a fault for the first goal, fannying about with the ball in the middle of the park and just allowing Burnley to take advantage of it. To be fair to Tom, that's something that he used to do an awful lot of, give the ball away comfortably and just get overran, and he really cut it out of his game, and this was the first time he'd made that mistake in a long time, so I don't want to go too deep in on him for it, but ultimately it caused us well, it caused the first goal, and I know that there was still 4 or 5 players in the box at that time who just allowed Chris Wood to practically stand on his own and take a shot, but it's losing the possession in the middle of the park which completely changed the game for us. So, but yeah, then, you know, he made amends for it up the other end of the pitch. An excellent ball in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin's header. It really was exquisite. It was right on Dom's head. So, you know, he made up for it with an excellent cross in for Dom. Other than that in the game, listen, one thing that I think was common with all 3 midfielders is, for as much as they might have been, you know, all right on the ball, or, you know, made a couple of decent passes off the ball, it was an atrocious performance. We were overrun massively in the midfield. It was the worst midfield performance I've seen Everton put in a long time, from Gomez, Allan and Davis off the ball, because every time Burnley had an attack, they were nowhere to be seen. Nobody was sprinting back. I mean, Allan was, but again, he just hasn't got that natural energy. He hasn't got that pace to do that decore role. But there were a number of times where Davis, Iwobi, Gomez were just watching Burnley get forward, watching them break, watching them take shots, and ultimately 2 goals came from the midfield, just standing round and watching. So Tom's getting a 6 today. Not an awful performance, but obviously he should be doing a lot better to not lose the ball in the centre of the park there. But he put in a fantastic cross for the goal. So again, sort of swings and roundabouts for Tom. Andre Gomez is getting a 3. Again, on the ball, he's a good footballer, and there was a couple of times when he won the ball back. Maybe a 3's a harsh. Probably give him a 4, actually, to be honest with you. On the ball, he was decent. He intercepted a couple of times. His passing was well, but off the ball, he's a liability. Off the ball, you may as well have, you know, these headphones that are sitting next to me. And even on the ball, for as good as he might be for nice little one-touch passes, or, you know, again, intercepting it, he's not effective whatsoever. He doesn't bring anything to this Everton team that if he wasn't there, we'd all go, oh my God, that is evidently missing. He doesn't bring any energy off the ball whatsoever, like we've just said. And on the ball, yes, he makes a couple of nice passes. Yes, he holds the ball up relatively well. Yes, he might intercept it every now and then, but it never comes of anything. His final product is very poor. And today, I just don't think he had an impact in the game whatsoever. So he's getting a 4. Alex Iwobi is getting a 5.5. Probably wind a few people up with these ratings, to be honest. Again, very similar to Andre Gomez. You know, he picks the ball up, he might run into a decent area, he might play the odd nice passes, dribbling might be well, but ultimately, at the end of it, he couldn't cross his arms. The crosses into the box are dreadful. Never really has a shot. His crosses are always knee height and comfortably defendable for any defender in the Premier League. And that's the issue with Alex Iwobi. You can talk all he likes about preferred position. You can talk all he likes about getting in the right area. But at the moment, his final ball is just absolutely abysmal. It really is abysmal. And again today, no matter how many times he got himself into a decent area, or he got himself into an opportunity to cross the ball into the box, he wasted it with just not a good enough ball. And ultimately, for as much as he had the ball, for as nice as his dribbling was at times, he done nothing. He done nothing to affect the game. He played one nice ball into Davis for the cross for the goal, but other than that, creative-wise, he was our creator today. Alex Iwobi was the creator today. Without Gylfi Sigurdsson in that team, without James Rodriguez in that team, the creativity fell on Alex Iwobi today to be that, you know, that player that brings that magic to win us the game, and he never. It's as simple as that. So he's getting a 5.5 just for the fact that he was on the ball an awful lot, and he wasn't awful with the ball at his feet. He just didn't do anything. Alan's getting a 4. very, very poor performance from Alan. Look, you can give him the benefit of the doubt as much we like because he's coming back from injury and this, that and the other, but his passing was atrocious, absolutely atrocious. He made that one unbelievable pass to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, whose touch just completely took it past him. It was an excellent ball with the outside of his foot, but other than that, I don't know if he made the pass. Other than that, again, he just seemed to be chasing the game for large parts of it. In possession, he was poor. He gave the ball away far too many times, and ultimately, I think he's being asked to do the Decore role again tonight, and he can't do it. He hasn't got the energy to do it. He hasn't got the stamina. He hasn't got the pace to constantly get about the pitch, and he just wears himself out to the point where teams just walk past him. Again, he was picking the ball up in some decent areas. He made that one really good pass to Dom, but not the type of performance you'd expect from Alan today. Just not good enough whatsoever. So he's getting a 4. Dom's getting a 6. For as good as the goal was, and it's a brilliant ball in by Tom Davies, and it's an excellent header, he had 3 or 4 other opportunities that he should have been doing much, much better with, be it on the floor, be it in the air. The Dean cross and that header is atrocious. It's an atrocious miss. It literally comes into him, and it just hits his head. He should be doing a lot better from there. And I don't want to go in on Dom, certainly not for his aerial ability, because he's been excellent this season, but again, you're looking at another performance where his touch has let him down, or he hasn't made well of the opportunities, or he should be more clinical. Is practically what I'm trying to say. If Dom wants to be a striker at the highest level of football, those chances in those games where he has 5 chances, he needs to be converting 3 or 4. And he was at the start of the season. He was having 5 chances, he was converting 3 or 4 of them, and it was excellent. Now he's having 5 chances and he's maybe scoring 1. Sometimes he's not even scoring, and they're good, clear-cut opportunities as well. So he had ultimately scored the only goal for Everton, but he had another plethora of opportunities that he should have done better with for me. And Richie is getting a 5. Thought he threw himself about a bit in the first half, had a couple of shots on target, won us a couple of fouls as well. Should have won us a blatant foul on the edge of the box, but John Moss was clearly had his money on Burnley today. But in the second half, I don't think I heard his name mentioned once in the second half. If he touched the ball, it was only a couple of times, and yeah, just wasn't involved whatsoever. Onto the substitutes then. João Virginia's getting a 6.5. Come on, had a little mix up with Ben Godfrey, but other than that, was quite solid. Wasn't tested many a time, don't get me wrong, but done all the simple bits well. And for a debut at home, a Premier League debut in tough conditions, I thought he held himself well, so he's getting a 6.5. Josh King, 5.5. Put one really good ball into Richarlison in the middle of the area, who laid it off to Coleman, whose shot was deflected for the corner, but other than that, again, couldn't get in the game, couldn't really run at the players, couldn't create any opportunities, couldn't get any shots off on target. Again, pretty just pointless putting him on, to be fair. Didn't do anything that you wouldn't expect anybody else to do. And Coleman's getting a 6. Again, he come on, he played a little bit further forward, he had a couple of shots, he got in decent areas, but again, he never changed the game ultimately, and he never was going to come on and change the game. And there you go. Look, they're the player ratings. I've probably been quite generous on some of them there, to be honest with you. Abysmal again. Another abysmal home performance, another home defeat, and another game goes by where at the end of the season we'll all be looking at thinking, how didn't we win that? Burnley will probably turn up next week. I don't know who they're playing, but they'll probably lose comfortably, and we'll all be sitting here saying, how did these beat us so comfortably at home? And that's because any team that comes to Goodison, be it a Premier League team or a gang of 11 lads playing footy down the road, any side that comes and plays at Goodison turns into prime Barcelona, and that's because we allow them to. There's no motivation, there's no urgency, we can't string 2 passes together, there's no movement creatively, there's no movement up front. We you know what that looked like today? You know what? I've been so what's the word I'm looking for? I've praised Carlo Ancelotti an awful lot since he's come into the football club for creating a team of players who play for each other, who work for each other, who fight for each other, who all look like a gang of mates. And we've seen it this season on a number of occasions. The start of the season, we've seen it in the derby, we've seen it against Chelsea at home. That team today, it felt like it was a side of individuals who didn't care for each other, didn't want to play for each other, couldn't be asked whether somebody had a good performance or not, didn't want to pick each other up, didn't have the motivation, just looked like we'd gone into a street and picked 11 lads out and gone, you're coming and playing, and they just looked like they didn't have any chemistry, they didn't know where the movement was going to be, they couldn't string any passes together, they just looked like they were there just going through the motions, and ultimately we need more of that team spirit. We need more of those performances where players are playing like a team, like they care for each other. rather than these performances where they're playing like they couldn't give a shit. And we're seeing far too many of those couldn't give a shit performances at Goodison this season. And again, it's not good enough today. Look, I'm going to probably go and have a beer, to be honest, and settle my head down, because that, I said it in the instant match reaction, I haven't been that frustrated for a long time with an Everton performance. I haven't, and I'm not getting my hopes up anymore. Forget your Champions League, we ain't good enough. And if we do finish in a European position this season, we'll be very, very, very lucky, because we ain't got the consistency to be a consistent challenger for Europe, and we need some massive, massive business doing in the summer. But anyway, there you go. They're the player ratings. If you've enjoyed them, let me know. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to subscribe. If you want to leave a comment. But yeah, I'm going to go and have a beer because my head's kettled. Big thanks for watching. Yeah, and we'll see you soon.